All right, guys, we are live and excited for you guys to join us as I give another update. Post-production of Trial and Triumph continues. Diligently working at this thing, and I'm excited to share with you guys where we're at. You're asking, and so is our team. When is it getting done? How quickly can we get it done? I am working as hard as we can, and again, I want to just kind of give kudos, give credit where credit is due. Our writing team has made my job so much easier than in times past. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I want to kind of show you guys what I'm looking at. Again, you're seeing all kinds of different colors, all sorts of things. Every once in a while, I got to zoom out to this view. And this view, for those who aren't editors, this is the view that periodically reminds you, hey, you're actually getting stuff done. Because normally, when I'm editing, I'm looking much closer at the various clips on the timeline. I'm seeing the different B-roll, and I'm seeing the interviews and the stand-ups, as we call them, or the scenes down at the bottom. And every day, at least the current pace I'm working at, this is, again, just a rough cut. There's no music, there's no sound effects, there's no color correction here. We're just laying out on top of the story spine, we're laying out the visuals. We're laying out the cutaways. You can see here up on the screen cutaways to statues, to carvings, cutaways to mysterious figures, and I'll show you guys a glimpse of this scene here to help tell the story. But I'll spend a day and realize I've only covered about 3 or 4 minutes with B-roll, and I have to zoom out and go, oh, you know what? Stuff is actually still getting done. Look at this. I may have mentioned this last time, but maybe you all will appreciate it is very easy with the amount of content that we're dealing with to get overwhelmed. I know I certainly do at times, and over the years, the 15 years or so that I've been editing, have found ways of keeping things organized, keeping things manageable. And one of the things that I do here in Premiere Pro is color code things. And it's not just to keep things pretty, as Avery might think, but it's, for me at least, to be able to very quickly find certain types of clips later. The process that I'm using here is, you'll see on the first track, you'll see down here, this is where our story spine is located. This is where individuals are talking to each other, providing spoken content. And this is based on the great script that was written, the transcoding of all of the spoken content that we did, all of the interviews. But as I laid it all down, sometimes you don't know until you actually get the visuals out that, at least in my opinion, sometimes they end up repeating themselves a little bit. So I've marked in red the spots where I think perhaps something could be cut. If we think a scene maybe is going a little too long, or if it just seems a little redundant. So the rest of the team hasn't seen this. They haven't actually seen my suggestions of cuts. Not to say that the script was bad at all, but we're currently looking at, you can actually see in this corner right up here, the total run time of this timeline. We're looking at about 2 hours and 5 minutes. And if you're a Peter Jackson fan, you're thinking, well, I could still do 30 or 40 minutes here. I think we would like to keep it under 2 hours. You might think, well, why don't we just show you guys everything that we shot? No one really is going to want to see that, at least in just dumping footage on a timeline. We want to tell a succinct story. We want to do justice to the text. This is Revelation chapter 1 through 3. And as something I'm constantly telling my own clients, If you can take 2 minutes to communicate your message, don't take 5. Be thoughtful to the audience. So I'd like to trim it down a little bit more than that. So I'm marking throughout the timeline. You'll see red. I think maybe we could lose this. I think maybe we could lose this section over here. You'll also see the opposite of that, orange. And orange is me taking creative license with the text of the script, not the text of Scripture, but taking the script that we have and potentially adding an extra sentence or two, adding sometimes even a whole sequence here that I think would be beneficial to keep the story cohesive. So again, the team hasn't seen this. Something editors have to do when we create content like this is we need to not be married to our first cut. Technically, this is a rough cut, so this is no sound, no music, no color. This is just the bare bones of the story. And I need to be fully prepared that pieces I've put in there may get cut. And the script writers need to be prepared that pieces they put in the script may get cut. But this makes it easy for me to find them later. I can't find a good example of it. You might actually find it in complete scenes. This particular scene is Jeremy and Mark sitting at a cafe discussing Thyatira. But occasionally I'll mark it in like a dark purple, which is where a blooper has occurred. And those happen. So I'm marking those. But hey, you guys have listened to me ramble on enough. Let's show you a clip from, again, super rough cut. But I really like this particular scene just because it gives a sampling of what we are trying to do with these scenes and with these locations is incorporating some new voices. Some of these faces you may recognize, but not necessarily within a series. And so I'm going to show you this clip and make sure you guys can hear it nice and loud. And then we'll kind of talk about it. Here we go.
Right around the corner, there's a healing tunnel. You'd put the patients in there, and a lot of times you would induce a dream sleep, sometimes with some medicines, and healing could actually come through your dreams from the gods. Okay. And you would actually stay in there, and the priest could be up above, kind of through the skylights, shouting encouraging words down to you.
Okay, now did the tunnel just go through?
On the other side, you had more of the complex. So you had a sacred spring over there, and there's a theater.
So thinking about Christians in the first century, what would their struggle be? What would their trial be, having your hospital associated with pagan idols, but you're trying to be a follower of Jesus?
You need healing, but your doctor's sending you to a place where you're supposed to be looking to a man who had been deified basically over time. Yeah. And that was definitely against what you were taught, because true healing comes from God.
All right. So this is a face that many of you may recognize. This is our fearless, one of our executive producers and our fearless photographer on the journeys that we take overseas. This is Dan Kingsley, and we are so blessed to know him. And his day job is he's a medical professional. He is incredibly smart and very, very talented in his field. And so we made the decision, and it just made sense, to let Dan give us a perspective, a medical perspective, as we walked through what's referred to as the Asclepion. It's part of Pergamum, and it's an area where people would come for healing. I'm not going to give the whole scene away, but some very interesting healing treatments there. You can see that healing tunnel they walked through. But we are just really thankful that, after 5 years. This year, Appian Media actually celebrates 5 years. We finally get to allow Dan to shine in front of the camera. Normally, he's the man behind the lens. So that is part of the scene there at Pergamum. There's a whole lot more to see. You guys will have to kind of wait on that. But I'd love to hear your guys' questions. Feel free anytime throughout the week. I'm trying to do these periodically to keep you guys updated with where we're at. But shoot us some questions. If there are things that you're curious about post-production, curious about the story itself, things that you would love to see emphasized, perhaps, in the story, and we'll see how we can accommodate what you're excited about as far as this content. How do you plan on using it? We'd love to hear all of those thoughts and suggestions. So in the meantime, a status update here is that Trial and Triumph, we are in the stages of rough cut editing, and I am I'd say we're about 60% of the way through adding the visuals, adding the B-roll. And after this is done, we will show it to the team, and this will be the first time that anyone besides myself has seen it all the way through. In fact, I haven't even seen it all the way through. And we'll get feedback and really start to massage it, really start to dial it into something that's close to the vision that we had. So we hope that this is a blessing to you all. I love kind of sharing this with you, reminding you that work is still going on, and it also lets me feel not quite so isolated here in my editing cave. So if you guys have any questions or want to learn anything more about Appian Media, we would encourage you jump on appianmedia.org. We are still fundraising for this post-production portion of Trial and Triumph, and we're also funds that you provide through one-time donations or through memberships go towards not only Trial and Triumph, but go towards our continuing series, like our podcasts. We have 3 of them going on right now, and plans for future seasons of those 3. Inroads, Digging Deeper, and recently wrapped up Listen My Children. And so your donations allow us to continue to create this kind of content and give it away for free. And we've got more to come, but visit appianmedia.org, learn more about what we're doing, and donate if you can. In the meantime, pray that you guys are blessed by the work that we're doing, and give us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Craig.
And I'm Stu, and we're the founders of Appian Media.
We really hope that you've enjoyed the content that you've just seen. This was only made available through the generous donations of so many of you.
We believe that the world should have biblically accurate, visually engaging content about the Bible, and it should be free for everyone.
We would encourage you to visit the membership page of appianmedia.org and consider becoming a reoccurring member. Everything that you donate to Appian Media is tax deductible.
However you decide to donate, we really appreciate your support.